Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. I thought I would do the voiceover not afterwards. I would just try to talk through the process. That's sometimes a bit difficult because talking through the process while painting distracts a little bit from the I would say from the relaxation and from the I get into kind of a zone when I am painting, and then it's sometimes really hard to talk. But I have a little bit of a plan today for an art journal page. In my last members video, I did a bunch of focal point flowers with the jelly plate, and I really like the result on the art journal page I did there, and I would like to make another art journal page today with a similar technique. And I would just like to use a color palette that I've already discovered. I think I don't have the right paint here. I would just switch my paint palette. It was the Paul Rubens. It was this Seascape palette, I think. And I'm going to use this. And I also have the cool watercolors here just in case I need them. And I would like to play with this color palette, which was the cobalt turquoise, I believe, this reddish brown, and one of the blues. I think I mixed a lot of the blues here. And I think it was probably that yellow color, this light one here. I think this one and the red are high flow colors. They are dominant. I will just play. I'm using the Action Journal today, and I discovered what I forgot about. The textured side is not as bad as I thought when you play with watercolor. So I'm going to use it just as it is. I did not add any primer to it. If I would use the smooth paper, the smooth side of the paper, I think I would use a primer, but probably I should try it next time without any primer. I'm going for a circular shape. I don't know if it's quite a lot, but I did some of these layouts in the past already. I will try to find some videos and link them up for you. I'm wetting the circle on my page, and then I'm just going in with the paints, and I think I'm going to start with that cobalt turquoise color. I'm starting with the colors that are not dominant, so they don't push away the other pigments. So later in the process, I have the option to push away some of the pigments with one of the other colors, if that makes sense. So I'm just playing here. I think I'm going to use that dark blue mix I have here. It's not very dark. That's better. Oh, and that has also seems to have some kind of sorry, that's my phone. This is dominant and pushes away the other pigments. And I think it's quite nice how the texture on this paper looks with the watercolors. It's not bad. I thought it was not good, but actually it's quite pretty. I'm now using some of that yellowish color. That mixes quite lovely to a light green. On this paper it's not as heavy pushing away the other pigments as it did on the watercolor paper. It's really lovely. I'm blending out the edges a little bit here. And when I have too much water, I just soak it up with a damp brush. And I try not to fill the whole circle with the same intensity. I try to bring in some contrast. And what we definitely need is a little bit more darkness. But I will now just add a little bit of this color to bring in some color contrast, some complementaries. And I will now add in even more of that dark blue color here. So we get a good value range from dark to light. I'm not sure if I will end up using one of these flowers, because I really don't like that they are black and the other color is towards the blue. I have my windows open, so there might be some animal noises going on out there. Maybe I have to add in a bit of black. I'm now trying the core watercolor here, yeah, because it's a color that pushes away, with a high flow, that pushes away other pigments. That just gives me the option to bring in that cobalt turquoise into the darks. There, it's a little bit too much, so I'm soaking it up. You can also add really easy. Use a damp brush on this paper and take away some of the paint, which is quite lovely because you can add some highlights into your work. Okay. I think I don't want to overdo it and overwork things, so I will keep it as it is. I will maybe blend out the paint a little bit towards the edges. That's a bit difficult because you can see that edge so clearly, and I don't really like that. Okay. Now talking about the black, I think I'm going to add in a little bit of black now to just introduce that color here. And there is a black in the Meeden palette, so I'm going to use it. And I just add a bit here to that circle. I just try to let that bleed in a little bit better, but I think it's quite nice in this way. And I'm going to add a bit more of that black just by splattering that into the wet. Yeah, that's nice. I try not to overdo it. So, okay, that's it. I'm going to let that dry and then I will be back and we can finish the spread. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm going to add some stamping to the background to bring in a little bit of interest and different type of texture, and I'm using black because the focal point is black. As I mentioned before, I want to have some black on the paper to make everything look cohesive. I'm going to work with the VersaFine clear ink, and I have a stamp from our Pencilmarks #1 set, which is a nice stamp for some simple backgrounds. And I don't want to overwork it, so I don't do the whole circle. I think that is quite nice, and I think I should add some kind of text to it as well. I'm using the text stamp from the Pencilmarks 4 stamp set, and I'm just, not Pencilmarks 4, from the Mix It Up 4, and I'm just stamping this a little bit into the dark of the page. That's quite nice. I think that is quite lovely. Yeah, going to leave it like it is. I don't want to add more. What I want to add is I think about some metallic copper color to bring in some highlights. I'm not sure if this is the right color for me, but there is no other in this set, and I don't want to take out my other metallic watercolors. It also always takes, that's nice, takes quite a while to get them activated if they are metallics. And I just add some mark making here. That's nice. Don't want to overdo it. What I also think we definitely need are some white splatters, but I think I'm going to let the metallics dry first. So the white, if they drop into it, does not bleed and it doesn't add more chaos to the page. So I'm going to let that dry again, and then I will be back and I will add a few more splatters, and maybe I will add also some more mark making with, I'm not sure if we need that. No, I think there is a lot on the page going on. I don't need to add more, so I'm going just to come back, add some white splatters, and then we will have a look how we can add a focal image if we just glue it down, if we make some kind of a collage cluster to adhere it. My page is dry, and now I'm going to add a few more splatters just to bring in some more interest. I'm using a white to lighten up some areas. I'm not sure how intense the colors will bleed into the white dots. Usually that happens from time to time. That's okay. That's really nice. Really like that. And I'm also going to make some black splatters, I think. The white is the Art Graph Tailor Shape crayon. I used it in the past quite a lot to make splatters because it's super easy and it's a very opaque, intense white. Yeah, I'm going to let that dry again, but in the meantime, we can just have a look at the focal points that I have. And I think that flower might be nice because it has just that copper touch, but it's quite big and heavy on the page. What I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to add kind of a collage cluster to plant the flower, and that will make it definitely a bit more light and less dark and heavy. But I just can already think about which flower I'm going to use. I think I want to use a smaller one. Yeah, something like that. That's a lovely one. What about this one here? This might be nice. This is quite a heavy, intense one, so no to this one. Yeah, I think I'm going to use either this one or this one. And I will now wait for this to dry, and then I will have a look through my collage papers and find some papers that are matching the colors and lighten up that darkness a little bit, and then I can just put a cluster down and adhere the flower. Okay, I am back. My page is dry and I've already searched for some papers, and I think I just want to go with some very neutral tones because everything is quite busy, and that brings it down a little, I would say. And I'm going to arrange it here at the bottom, just like so. I thought about adding a black paper in as well, but I don't think I need that. And then I plan to adhere the flower on top, and I also want to add a little title or sentiment to the page, and therefore I picked just a text stamp, a sentiment stamp from my collage leaf stamp set. I will link up all the products I'm using in the video description, and of course also the blog post for this page, so you can have a look at the close-up images. And I'm going to cut the words out and then adhere them here. And something that I also thought might look quite nice, but I'm not sure if it will, so we will try that. Add some kind of smaller ephemera in this area here, and I just want to go through my pre-stamped images and see if there is something that fits. There are not so many tiny images left. No. I thought I would have a few more of them. Oh, here are some butterflies. That might be a good idea. Maybe in a lighter area so the contrast is not as intense. I'm not sure. It's quite intense, the white against that darker background. But I really like it like this. I think I will add them to the page. Let's see. I will start by adhering the papers and then the flower and maybe the rest. As the flowers are, oh, I think that's clogged. the flowers, or on a heavyweight paper, and I think I need some wet glue for them to adhere. Usually the glue stick works better just for thinner papers because they don't bend themselves upwards. Okay, now I think I have to shut my windows because someone is about to make some noise out there, I think. We will see how loud it gets. Yeah, I really like it. I'm cutting the words apart and adhere them separately. Yes, that's nice. Now let's see if we will keep the butterflies or if not. That's it without, and that's it with. I think they definitely have a good place there, so I'm going to adhere them. I'm using the glue stick for that. These are embossed in white on vellum paper. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned the flower before. I've made these in my last members video. I think I've mentioned that already. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I really like the page. I think it's not as colorful as I'm usually creating, but I really like the result. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope we will see us next time. That should be on Wednesday. Bye!